name is Sal. I identify as asexual, aromantic and non-binary.
My name is Bella. I identify as female.
My name is Blue Scolino. I identify as trans male.
My name is Kevin. I identify as a binary trans man and also as gay.
My name's Emerson. I identify as male, but I was assigned female at birth, so I'm transgender.
My school experience is that I didn't really get to the end of school. It was living hell, and I quit in year 11 before the exams and only did English and maths.
School was a little bit rough. When I came out in school, there were a lot of people that were sort of just saying a load of prejudicial things, lots of homophobia, lots of sort of just mean things that were really affecting my mental health.
Normally I feel quite safe in school, but it's just the times when I'm walking around on the corridors on my own and I'll be wearing like little LGBT pin badges and stuff, and I'm scared that people will notice and say something, but when I'm with my friends everything's fine because I know they'll back me if something does occur.
Speaking about my experience at university in particular, I would say that it was okay, but it could have been a lot better. When it came to pronouns, I didn't feel like I was in a safe enough environment to be able to do that and to set those boundaries with my classmates either.
I never quite fitted in. I don't think being autistic helped with that. I was a bit of a bully magnet.
I only felt supported by one teacher, but that one teacher wasn't enough to keep me in school because every other teacher wanted me to do more when I couldn't. And it just got to the point where I was doing the bare minimum because I was just so mentally drained by everyone wanting me to do something I cannot.
I mainly feel supported at school by my teachers, but there's like a couple teachers I just feel like they don't understand. I don't think that like they're against it. I just don't they just don't understand.
I think my friends helped most of all, especially when I was gradually coming out to people and had to decide who would be the kind of safest people to come out to first. I think I chose quite well in that respect because they were all very supportive.
The teachers didn't really know apart from one, and I did feel supported by her. I just didn't have the confidence or the wherewithal to sort of say it to anyone else.
I had a couple of instances of being outed by well-meaning members of staff. I was also told by one member of staff not to come out to my mother because he thought it was just a phase and thought that coming out to my mother would cause a problem. And I had an instance where a member of staff actually asked me if I wanted her to tell another student that I was trans, and I said no, I didn't want her to tell her at that moment, and she said okay. And then a week later this student came over to me and she started talking to me about me being trans. I said, oh, where did you hear this? And she said that member of staff had told her. I was really kind of quite disappointed and quite angry about that. And I went to her and I said, why did you tell this person? Because I told you I didn't want you to tell her. I was expecting her to say, oh, I'm sorry, I forgot, I didn't realise or whatever, and apologise. But instead she denied it.
So there's been times in school when things have been like pretty difficult. For example, in one of my maths lessons, people were like, oh, who's this? And then they just started saying like transphobic comments. I was getting pretty upset because like there was none of my friends in the class to help me out, so I was just kind of on my own. People were like shouting at me and swearing at me. And the teacher was just kind of like going red like in his little seat, and he wasn't helping. I think he wasn't helping because he just didn't really get it and he didn't know what to do and what to say.
A member of staff actually said she would report me being trans to another member of staff because it was a safeguarding issue. which at the time I didn't realise is actually illegal to do that. And that caused quite a lot of stress because I didn't want her to start reporting me. They always mean well, but they just don't kind of have the knowledge to make the best kind of decisions, and often they jump to wrong conclusions.
I think what my school could have done better is given me leaflets with information and support groups, and maybe even provided a support group in school so that people could gather together once a week and talk about any issues that they may be having.
If they could have training days where they teach people about our community, so that if something does happen, they can like help us and tell people what they've done wrong and give people punishments if they do something like homophobic, transphobic or anything like that, because no one really understands. It's just a bit annoying, really.
There's actually quite a few things that they could have done better. One of them is having asexual and aromantic education, as I didn't know that until after I left school. Being asexual, aromantic and non-binary is kind of like the invisible part of the, well, basically the LGBT plus community. It's not really a known topic, so it's kind of isolating at times, and I feel that a little bit weird even in this community. I think there's still a bit of work to do when it comes to the identities that are less well known, because I don't come out very often, because every time I do I have to explain for at least half an hour and then a week later explain again.
If I'd known that I was trans before I was 16, if I'd known while I was in secondary school, I think it would have really benefited me to be in a learning environment where it was okay to be open and explore my identity in the same way that most cis, straight students would have been able to, because at that age we're all figuring ourselves out anyway. It would be good to have counsellors who similarly have that information, who we can talk to when teachers or students aren't on our side. In particular, I think it's best for teachers to remember, we're all figuring ourselves out, but we're still people and we deserve respect.
Accept them and support them, because as soon as they know that they've got support in school, even if they don't have it at home, it will make it a lot easier for them.
Say I've got a LGBT plus toolkit, and they also provide free training to schools. It's just important, I think, for young people to feel like schools are making the effort and actually trying their best to help them and understand them and support them. It's important for students to feel like even if they are a minority, they matter.